So when I was growing up, my family had this routine that I think is pretty common. You have a bunch of dishes and you essentially use them until the dishwasher fills up, and then you run the dishwasher and then you put them back and you repeat the cycle over and over again. And when I moved out into my own apartment, I continued that cycle. I had a lot of dishes, I was living alone, and my dishwasher didn't work that well either, so I was washing dishes by hand in the sink. But I followed that same sort of routine where the sink would fill up with dishes and then I would have to motivate myself to get to the point where I'd clean them all and put them back, and then it would just kind of stress me out because then it would restart the cycle again. And it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but there was at least one instance where I went out and bought a cheap plate just because I really didn't want to churn through all those dishes. And so over the years, that sort of just continued. I actually started eating out more just because I really did not enjoy doing the dishes and doing that routine. And it wasn't until somewhat recently that I actually started going through my life and looking for these things that I kind of call subtle stressors. And a really big one that stood out was dishes, dirty dishes, and the way that I was going about it. So I thought about it and I was like, how do I simplify this? How do I keep it simple? How do I reduce redundancies so that whatever this habit that I had going is different? This is what I came up with. Now keep in mind, I live with my girlfriend now, so there's 2 people, and these are the dishes that we use. And this may sound silly, but of all the things that I simplified in my life, I think the thing that made me the most happy, had the biggest impact on me, is this right here. Because everything in here is so purposeful. I'm gonna walk you through it. So the right bowl serves as both a bowl and a plate. You don't need to have plates and bowls. This is a wide bowl with a flat bottom and it has the sides of a bowl. So if I wanted to make soup, it works. It's a bowl. But also if I wanted to cook steak and potatoes, this is a plate just with a little bit higher rim on it. And the other thing that I love about this bowl, which by the way I got from Target for about $5, is that it's so easy to clean. Because the other part of my philosophy with this is that yes, there's less, but every part of it is purposeful, right? If I'm only going to have one bowl that I'm gonna eat out of, I wanna make sure that this one bowl that I use is one that I really love. You know, one that's easy for me to clean, fun for me to use, and weirdly enough, I find that the more simple it is, the better it is. So the second really simple thing that I really love are what we're doing with the utensils. Dana and I went to Japan last year and we got chopsticks and wooden spoons that were made from bamboo in Kyoto, I believe. And these spoons are so nice. I always get that feeling with metal spoons where it hits against my teeth and it gives me the shivers, but with wooden spoons you don't have that problem, and they're big, they're nice to hold. Again, further serving down that point of if I'm gonna have one thing, I want that one thing to be something that I really like. And if you only have one thing to optimize and think about, it's easier to come up with the right solution than if you're trying to optimize 100 things, you know? And then we're kind of weird. We could have forks instead of chopsticks, but for whatever reason, we like using chopsticks. So that's what these are here. And you'll notice that we don't have knives. We actually have one sharp, like a steak knife that we use. And if we need to cut something up like steak, we just share that knife. And finally, 2 mugs. Nothing special here, it's just if we want coffee in the morning, we have our mugs. And that's actually a side point too that I think is really important about all this is you might say, well, if you're really trying to simplify things, couldn't you drink your coffee out of a bowl? Technically, yeah, you could. I don't consider myself a minimalist. It's not about doing it for the sake of perfection and doing it. I think if you're going about it in that way, you're actually not really thinking through what you're doing and why you're doing it. So this is what was right for us. And yours might look a little bit different. But hopefully what you get out of this is not specifically what we have here, but the mindset that led to what we have here. So now washing as a subtle stressor in my life is gone. Because we use these every single day, right? If you need to use a bowl, you wash that bowl and you use it. And because I chose the single one right bowl that is very easy to wash and clean, it takes 10 seconds. And then finally to close things up, just an extra thought on all of this is that for me, there's really something to not having more than what I need. And I didn't always live this way, and not all things in my life are this way right now, but that's something that I'm working on. And I try to tackle one thing at a time. And when I tackle that one thing at a time, I try to do it right. And I said this once already, but if someone were to walk into our apartment and say, what is the thing that you're most proud of in here? It would be these dishes. Can't explain it. It's a very weird thing. Either you'll understand it or you won't understand it, but it's just the truth. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon.